Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Candice Michelle. She is a former WWE champion, and she started this based on someone who just truly had a passion. She's an American model, actress, and retired professional wrestler, best known for her time with the World Wrestling Entertainment's WWE. Candice reached her peak of her WWE when she became the world women champion, becoming the first Diva Search contestant to win the title. Now she's applying her champion lifestyle to motivating coaching, to helping others that you could do anything you put your mind to, no matter just all you just need to do is try and be determined to get there. We'll be talking to her on how you can reach your full potential and achieve your goal. Candice began her career at an unprecedented times. She didn't realize her mom had bad news because of something her father suffers from, and her mom was told to get rid of her as when she was pregnant carrying her. But the mom was so determined and believed in herself that the baby she was carrying was normal. Candice was born and she came out a normal, healthy child, like any other baby being born. She stayed. She was a cheerleader, and at the age of 18, she was brave enough to follow her heart and move to Hollywood in California to pursue her dream of being a model. She went on to become the first ever Diva Search contestant to win the WWE Women's Championship. From there, she landed her dream cover and posed for Playboy. She's known for her infamous Good Daddy Super Bowl commercial. But right now, what is she doing? She's a mother of three beautiful girl and a married woman who's been married for 20 years. I am super delighted to talk to her because it's always good to talk to people who have gone through such amazing, amazing, meaningful in their life to become where they are today, and how she's doing this using her skills that she's learned over the years to helping others. Meet Candice. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation again with myself and Welsh. Today's topic is actually quite inspiring because we have Candice here, and she's joining us to talk about her own journey and where she is now and how she's finding purpose and meaningful in her life. As I said in the introduction briefly, she's the creator of 21 Days Champ challenge. So I hope one day you guys could join in that challenge, which she does. She's a devoted wife and mother of three. And one thing that really stays with me with her tagline is consistency over time equals results. Candice, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. I'm really glad. Well, and where are you joining me from? What part of the world are you joining
I'm
from?
actually in Los Angeles, California, so I'm happy we were able to make the time frame work.
Absolutely, and no. So it's always a challenge, but we always make it work, because the world is getting smaller and everyone is connecting much easier. Thank God for all this advanced technology in communication. Your story is one that's so inspiring. I mean, when I read your bio, I was looking at it and I'm thinking, your mother was told not to have you as a child. Could you just give us a little bit of a background into that story? Because I wasn't quite sure what is it that your dad had that made them think that you won't be healthy when you were born.
Right. So my father was diagnosed. He was in the army, and it might have been a vaccine-induced injury. We're not quite sure because back then, in those times, those things weren't really reported. But after that, he had a discharge because they found a very rare tumor that started growing in his spine. And it's not a cancerous tumor. It's a very long name, like I have paperwork on it, but because of its location, he ended up being a quadplegic. So basically, everything from his neck down didn't work, except his special part worked. And his dying wish to my mom was to be intimate one more time. And my mom was married to him to death do us part, and she obliged, not thinking she would get pregnant. Well, she did. And since this was such a far advanced stage of this disease that he had, already being a quadplegic and in a wheelchair, doctors were very worried that the child, would be born with the disease. And so they highly suggested that she abort, the child. And my dad was just very, very against it. I've even heard maybe almost a little verbally abusive. I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation. So I don't really know what happened, but my mom did choose to carry out the pregnancy. And thankfully, I was born healthy. I've had no conditions related to that in my entire life. And so, just going through that experience and realizing I like to coach about it's an unprecedented birth, right? Like that really was not a birth that was supposed to happen. The odds of a child being born during those circumstances are not normal.
Oh,
And I look at it though, like we're all really born from an unprecedented birth. And this sounds weird, but this analogy is very true. There's usually one egg and 100 million sperm that vie for that one egg. So like the chances of winning the lottery are better than the chances of you being born.
yeah.
So I look at people and I'm like, you're such a gift to this planet. Like you were born, and now every day that you've survived, and especially this last year all over the world in a pandemic, like you're a gift. Like this is like, you're beyond winning the lottery. And just because it's not money, it doesn't mean you're not winning. And so I like to remind people of that. So it just gives them that little shift in perspective to keep going.
I like that, Candice. I mean, I like that way you look at things, because it's not something I've thought about this before, but it is true. Every time we are on this planet, we are a gift. We are here for a purpose, and we don't know when sometimes we don't even know what that purpose is. But I think as life goes on, sometimes we start to realize the purpose we're here for. And I'm so happy that your mom and your dad made that decision to keep you, because look at you, you've made a massive contribution to the world. You're married, you have three wonderful kids, so it's just amazing. But your story went on, because you used to live in a tiny part. Where was this? Where did you used to live before you moved to LA? I mean, California or Hollywood?
Yes, I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Yes.
a very Midwestern town. And I was at, 1% of the population that thought I can go to Hollywood and I can make my dreams come true.
Oh my
And
God.
I remember I was about 18. I packed up my car. I remember my mom waving goodbye to me. Now, that part of it, like, now sticks out to me. And for all of us mothers, like, I think, wow, if my child grows up and says, Mom, I'm going to move to New York, like across the world from where I live, how much strength does it take for a mother to say,
Okay.
okay, babe, you can do it. I believe in you. Like that power in that moment actually pushed me, because moving to LA, every single day for the first year, I cried. Literally every single day. It was hard. It was lonely. I ran into all the worst people that you can imagine in that first year. And you got to push through and keep pushing through those times, because now I've been here 22 years. Wow,
Wow.
that's crazy.
That is crazy, right? To think about it, that you left when you were 18 and you stuck it. You said, this is something I want to do. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to go for my dreams. How did your mom react? I know she said bye at there, but when you got to LA, how was the communication with your mother?
I literally probably talked to her every day
Oh,
and just crying to her, like, I can't do it, but I know I can't leave. Like being stuck in that in between zone of, first of all, it's my first time living outside of my house. So I'm on my own. First time I'm responsible for rent and bills and electricity and a car payment. I have no friends. I have to find a place to go to the grocery store. I have to find a new nail salon. Like everything is brand new at such a young age.
wow.
And a brilliant learning experience, but a very difficult season.
Yeah, I think it's something that it's very difficult to imagine it, especially when you have kids, that your kids who just go off and go and find their own path in life. I hope one day you and I will get the courage to let our own kids find their own path. that you went on to do WWE. I mean, come on. How did you? I mean, I remember watching WWE as a child, and I would be amazed by the strength, the strongness, especially when the women came on. The men was okay, they were strong, so that's fine. But when the women would come on, I would be like, oh my goodness, look at the strength, look at the muscle. How did they do it? How do they train their body? What do they eat? What do they get? And not only did you go on to do that, you won a title for doing this. Tell me your journey on getting there. How did you manage? How did you get there?
Well, I was a struggling model actress in Los Angeles. So basically, I was a waitress most of the time. And I remember my agent calling me and he said, "Hey, Candice, I'm not sure if you're interested in this or not, but the WWE is holding this like diva search contest, but the winner will win $100,000." And I was like, "The WWE?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know it's really weird, but are you interested?" And I was like, "Am I interested? Heck yeah, I'm interested." I grew up watching the WWE. Like every Monday night, I'd get on the couch with my stepdad, Ken. I'd be cheering for Hulk Hogan. My mom's in the other room yelling at us, "Turn that stuff off, it's fake." And we're like, "Fake? This is not fake. These are real life superstars." And so for me to get that opportunity and have it come full circle after so many years was really very ironic. And I auditioned for the show. I didn't win the contest, but a month later they called me back and they offered me a 3-year deal. And at that point in that season of WWE, they were what they call trying to pretty up the business. So this was the first time that they weren't trying to find like really strong, muscular women. They were trying to find the models in Hollywood. And so what they thought they were bringing me in for wasn't really what I thought. Like when I'm coming in, I'm like, I'm going to be the next champion. And they're like, she's here to be a model on the show. And so I had to prove myself. And the way I did that was before every house show, I'd show up 2 hours early. I'd watch the refs put up the ring. I'd get in the ring with the refs. I had to learn on the road because I was gifted going to TV right away. I didn't have a wrestling school. I come home and I remember this one ring I'd rent cost me $3 a day. It was like broken down chicken coops, and the ring was so beat up. It was half inside a garage and half outside a garage. And then the owner says, "Just don't hit the mat over there because you might fall through." I was like, "Okay, but if you want something, you just get in there and you hit the ropes over and over and over again."
Yes.
And after almost 3 years, I won the title.
Wow, congratulations. That is such
Thank
determination.
you.
That is someone who says, I am born to make it. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. And I really love that, how you share that story, because a lot of us, especially now with everything going on, it's so easy to just say, you know what, it's not going my way. So I'm tired. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just giving up. And there's so, yeah, I tell people, yeah, there's so much pain in the world right now, but that doesn't mean you become, you live in that pain. Yeah, let the pain happen, but learn to get out of it and keep finding your true purpose. And you have to work for it. Nothing is given to you for free. You have to work for it. But you didn't stop there. You went on to do the GoDaddy commercial. How did that go about? Because that was for the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they auditioned in all the major cities here in the US, which was New York, Chicago, Miami, and Los Angeles. And actually, I did a Skype interview like this because the owner was in a different state. And I remember getting the call, and obviously, I was so excited because I landed a Super Bowl commercial. So I go in and we're filming. You know, you prepare, like, this is a big moment in my career, a big opportunity. The night before, I'm prepping, I got my outfit laid out, all the things I need to take, I'm eating good, I'm exercising in the best shape, and I wake up sick, like full blown cold or flu. I don't know what I had, but I was sick. And I was like, no way am I giving up this opportunity. So I go to the commercial and we shot that poor makeup artist. Like I would be sneezing and coughing and she'd be touching me up between shots, but we just nailed this commercial. And so the commercial was supposed to air 2 times during the Super Bowl, and one of them got pulled. And this was a huge ordeal because, Super Bowl commercials are millions of dollars. So to pull it without any notice, it's a big ordeal. And we were doing improv on Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction. Yes. So the network thought this was not appropriate. After it aired once, they pulled it the second time. And I never really believe in your big break. I still don't believe in it. I think the work happens behind the scenes and then you get those moments. Yeah. But I woke up that next morning and I had like over 60 messages on my cell phone. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody back home died. Like I was so worried. So I started listening to them, and it was every news station, every radio station that wanted to do interviews with me about this commercial being pulled. And I was like, wow, this is like a big break. And so it just kind of soared from there.
Behind the scene big break. It just happened even though you were not even expecting it.
No, but I think it's like that iceberg. You've ever seen that photo of the iceberg? Like there's just that little tip of it, right? But underneath the water, that's all the work and the dedication, yes. The auditions I missed, the rejections I had, the late nights waitressing, like people don't see that. They're like, she was lucky. Yes. I was like, lucky? No, I've been working for 5 years for that moment,
It's true. People always see the beautiful side, but no one ever sees the inside, the hard work that goes into it, the consistency, the effort, the rejection, the pain, the suffering, the anxiety, the depression, you name it. They don't see that. All they see is the glamorous part. Oh, you did this. How'd you do that? And sometimes you just have to say, it just happened. And now you're so focused. I think one of the reasons I looked at your page was just how fascinating you have turned your life around from all your learnings. You're now trying to, really help others to understand the philosophy of life. There's something where you say consistency over time equal results. Why have you used that as your tagline?
Well, I think I got to a stage in my life where I've just elevated to another level, like accomplishing things for myself. What I realized, actually, this is a great story. I was putting on an event at my home. It was my first champ event. It was like an underground mastermind. I invited a lot of like-minded people, and I was going to do speeches and interviews and just like a whole motivational seminar at my house. And leading up to that moment, I was so exhausted. I have 3 kids. I'm like spending a ton of money and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Like I put this on my own plate in addition to everything else happening. And all I could think about, I remember standing on my stairs thinking, I can't wait till tomorrow when I can just sit on my couch and do nothing and this is all over. And Saturday night happens. We had the most magnificent event. People were inspired. My cup was so filled with joy and love and being of service to my fellow friends that I woke up the next day and I was like, what can I do next? And I was like, wait, I thought I was gonna sit on the couch and do nothing today. Like this was my day, all the work is done. And then I realized when you achieve a goal for yourself, it usually lasts like a day. Sometimes even winning the championship, it lasted for that moment, that evening. The next day, now I have a whole locker room of girls coming after me. Some of them now hate me. Some of them despise me. Some of them want to be my friend and walk all over me. Some of them are just great humans. Like it's a whole new ball game once you achieve something. And then I learned if I can help you achieve something, that never goes away. That's a gift for me that lasts forever. If I can get you to achieve a dream that you're like, no, I can't do it, but I can just guide you on the journey with the tools that I've learned on all the successes I've had, like that truly will last a lifetime. And so I've just shifted in that perspective. And it also came from my sister. My sister, same mother, same father. She's about 6.5 years older than me. And she said to me, she's like, how do you always know what you want to do? She's like, I just wish I knew what I wanted to do so I could go after it and do it well. And I thought, wow, like how many people in the world feel that? Because I've never felt that. I just know I have to follow my energy. And I thought if I can get to the bottom of that and help my sister and create a program, that's where my programs came in, then how many people on this planet could I potentially help? And for me, that was the ultimate reward.
That is very true. There's so many people who don't have that courage to follow their dreams, or they don't even know what to do. They don't even know where to start. They don't even hear the callings anymore. The callings are just numb to them. They don't hear that. And I'm going back to your WWE days because, I mean, to train for that must have taken so much from you. And one of the things I'm really fascinated about is understanding the philosophy of a wrestling match and how you correlates with everyday life, because you talk about that a lot on your page about the philosophy of an everyday match and the correlation with it in your everyday life. How would you put that in, so into someone's perspective to understand what you mean by that?
Yeah, so one of the best gifts that I take with me from my days in wrestling is when I learned the philosophy of a wrestling match. Now, you'd think I would have probably learned that on day one or in the first year, but I didn't go to a wrestling school. And so that was never taught to me until this specific match against Beth Phoenix. And I really, really felt it. And then I learned it. So every match, there's an entrance, you know, we walk in, we do our pose, they cheer, they boo. Then there's a lockup, and that's where you come in and you lock up. Now, the lockup in life is whatever you're battling against. So maybe right now it's against your health. Maybe it's against the fear of COVID. Maybe it's against the loss of a job, loss of a friend during this political campaign debate. So that's a lockup. Then there's a shine. Like you get some good hits in. You're like, oh, I got this. We'll take health as an example. Oh, I got some exercising in. Oh, I ate good today. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's a cutoff. Something breaks you down, like instantly. It's like you get bad news and you start overeating. You feel like you can't work out because you don't have time. Your child gets sick, now you can't work out. And then it goes into the heat. Now, this part of the match is normally the part that people don't like. But ironically, it's my favorite part. The heat is when you get beat down over and over and over and over again. It's punch after kick after, I mean, you're just kind of laying there like broken. And so many people can maybe resonate with this right now. Like you just can't get out of it. But this is where a lot of people want to give up. You know, they get stuck in the heat because they don't keep going. But the beauty of this is there always comes a hold. There's a moment when you get to catch your breath. And in that moment is when you can start fighting back. And it's that little step. Maybe you're just drinking a little bit more water a day. Maybe you just add one green juice a day. Maybe it's just a little apple cider vinegar. Just these little steps. And then before you know it, it's the comeback. Now, the comeback is when you start beating down all those things that were taking clothesline, drop kick, spinning clothesline, flying cross body. And then it's like, wow, I feel good. Like I figured out my schedule. I found a gym, and then you can take home the win. And it happens in every scenario in life. But if you give up in the heat, then you get stuck there. But the heat is also where you grow the most. You learn how to get creative. This pandemic, right? The businesses that are surviving, it's because they're creative. We've all taken a hit. I feel like a caged animal sometime in here with 3 children. I'm like, get me out of my house.
Yes. It's really it's been really challenging for so many people, and it's just true. The people that are surviving this are people who are just creative and trying to navigate how to do things differently in a different time of living. You always said, and I think from what you describe, I understand why you say it now. Don't be disheartened by being told you don't understand. Push
Mhm.
through, push through. I like that because it's
Yeah.
true. You go into a room and you feel you shouldn't be in this room. You shouldn't be sitting on the table because people might say to you, you don't understand, you shouldn't be part of it. But I like when you said, don't be disheartened by saying you don't understand. People saying to you, are you sure we shouldn't even mention you don't understand what we're saying? Push through. In your opinion, where have you utilized that skill set?
Yeah, so two things come to mind with that question. The first thing is progress over perfection. So,
Mm.
and I've realized I'm a perfectionist at a lot. I just realized this last year. If you would have asked me that, I said, I'm not that person, but like my house is tidy to a T. Like my work is prepared before, like I like things to be nice and good. And so sometimes I just won't do things if it's not perfect. So progress over perfection. Take one little step. Like pushing through doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to feel like $1,000,000, but did you do one little thing? And so my 21-day program is all about that. You pick one little thing and there's a compound effect that will happen. So one of my favorite things, you see, I'm drinking my water here. It's massive. So I drink half my body weight. This is my goal for this month, by the way. Half my body weight in ounces of water a day. Now, that's a very reasonable goal that almost any human on the planet can do. And my kids are also doing this month as well. So just to give you an idea, this is age range, doesn't matter your ethnicity, your race, your gender, anybody can do this. But what happens for me is I eat better then. I want to work out more. The compound effect, I feel better. My skin looks better. So all those things, but I just focus on this one simple little goal. So that's the little progress, and then everything else kind of falls into place. And I
Yeah.
forgot what the second thing was.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We always talk about perfection, striving to be perfect. Someone who was in the WWE. I think one of the things you guys are all about is having your body perfect. You were a model as well. You did put a picture on Instagram where you just said, "I'm so disheartened to be showing this picture to everyone. Look at the way I look. I don't I'm not just gonna lie about it, but this is my body." So and one thing you said is striving for perfection is terrible. Instead, I've learned to make progress. And I
Yeah.
think this is something a lot of people, especially with this pandemic, would also have to learn about. It's not just about striving for every day being perfect, having the perfect body, have the perfect look, but it's also being making tiny progress and hopefully getting to your goal. When you did that picture on Instagram, that must have taken so much from you to just be so courageous enough to put something like that out there. And why did you do it? And what feedback did you kind of get from that message you put out there?
Well, first of all, that post was really, really hard for me to do because a lot of people, especially my following on social media, they have a vision of who I am and what I look like. And sometimes that vision is the same from when I was a professional wrestler. But the reality is I've had 3 children, life happens, pandemic, and things don't always look the same. And I wanted people to see the real side of me. So for me as a coach, so I call myself a champ coach because I coach people to make their dreams come true. If you don't feel like I'm real, then you won't trust me. So it's about building this relationship of like, look, this is my starting point and here's my end goal. So watch, like I struggle with the same things every woman out there struggles with. Some days I wake up feeling bloated. I hate the way my skin looks. I feel unworthy. I feel, all those things I feel every day. So I have to have 3 things in order, and that's my values, my standards, and my rituals. When I have those things really dialed in, then I can make that progress. And I can share these things with you because in my mind, now I'm taking you on my journey. Like, okay, this is what it looks like today. And how is it going to look like in 21 days or in 6 months or a year? And so it's that progress. Like, I'm on the journey with everybody else, just like everybody else is. So people that want to coach with me or do my programs, they have to trust me. They have to know that I will fight shoulder to shoulder with you to make that come true, because I fight every single day of my life. I fight to wake up early. I fight to get exercise in. I fight to drink this water. All of a sudden it's like 9 o'clock. I'm like, damn, that water is still filled. Like, how did I forget to drink water all day? And so the struggle's real for me too. I'm not abnormally human. I'm human, and I fail so much, and that's why I succeed so much. It's because my relationship with failure. I teach my kids. I say, "What did you fail at today?" And when they were going to school, they're like, "Oh, I didn't fail." I said, "Well, then you didn't try hard enough." Because if you don't fail, you're not pushing yourself enough. And if you create that relationship with failure as being a good thing, then it means like you're pushing and you're growing and you're progressing.
That is very true. This must be, people must understand there has to be a relationship with failure. You shouldn't be afraid to fail. The only way you know you're trying, you're making an effort is when you fall down, because then you know. So, but I always use the baby analogy. You look at a little baby, the only reason the way the baby learns to walk is by falling down several times, and the baby never
Yeah.
stops. They just keep going until they one day master the step of having to walk. And that doesn't mean they will still not fall down, they'll still kind of fall a couple of times, but
Yeah.
they just keep going. And that's the way life is designed to be. We look at
So,
it all differently now that we're older, but I say, no, we are still the same baby in life, in our learnings, because everything is also different. And you move to a new place, is different. Candice, our final question, in light of everything going on, how do people get in touch with you with the course you have on offer? Because you're doing this 21-day champs. How do people get in touch with you to understand more and be part of this your program?
yeah, so on my website, CandiceMichelle.com, you can find all this information. I have the 21-day champ challenge, which I've made as affordable as possible. It's $21. It's 21 days of quotes, tools, personal stories from me, and walking you through the whole journey of achieving one goal in 21 days. And it's that simple goal, like I was saying. And when you do this in 21 days, you've probably heard this, but it creates a habit. Now, there's new scientific studies that will say 66 days. But if I tell most people to do something for 66 days, I'm going to lose them. So I really believe more in the 21 days forms a habit. And if you do this, by the way, if you get the program, you have it for the whole year. So I recommend people do it every month. So if you create one little habit every month for 12 months, what does your life look like at the end of this year? And it's such a great time to start, right? So like last month, every morning, my whole family, we drank apple cider vinegar and water first thing in the morning. This month, we're doing the water challenge. And so every month we pick that challenge just to focus on. But I'm also really excited because my husband and I are starting a show. It's called The Good Champs. He's actually a chiropractor here in Los Angeles. He's called The Good Chiropractor. So we kind of mingled our names. It's launching this Friday, and it's absolutely free. So this is my way of serving the community and giving back and being a force for good, because it also fills my cup up when I can do what I love and carving out that time to do that. So it'll be live at 11, the same time, 11 Pacific Standard Time. It'll go onto YouTube and podcast channels, but it's every Friday and it's gonna be free. So if you need that little bit of inspiration or motivation, or you wanted to see who we are and what we do every day, then join us.
I will join you guys one day and see what you're doing. It would be lovely to see both of you do your work. Candice, I'm really delighted that you took the time out to speak to me about your life journey and how you've overcome challenges to be where you are. And it wasn't easy, but you got there and you're still striving. Thank you so much for being so open and honest with us. Thank you for this conversation.
And thank you so much for having me and being a force for good and putting this content out, because all it takes is just, one person to see it and it changes their life. So congratulations to you and thank you for the honor.
Thank you so much, Candice.